A very warm good morning, dear students. Dear students, today we are just going to learn about the chapters 26, Leonardo da Vinci. This is an unseen passage. You need to see some of the things like the question answers. It is for you actually. I'm just telling you some of the answers. That's all. Okay, we will be just reading this chapter, and afterwards we will just analyzing some of the answers. So this answer the following questions and so on you will be doing by yourself, and it is a task for you because now it is an unseen passage. Please go through this, and you can find out the answers also. Okay, I hope that you all can easily do it. Okay, and other answers, dear students, please see that just go through all these answers. Make sure that you have got all the answers. I think I have given till punctuations and all this. Now, please see that those answers you are getting. Okay, properly you are getting all those answers, and okay, just make sure before the exam. Please, these days, please make sure that you are having all the answers. Okay, please don't go for the last moment. Okay, now let us start chapter 26, Leonardo da Vinci. That is page number 162. You can just see that. So read the text and answer the questions that follow. On the sunny slopes of Mount Albano, between Florence and Pisa, the town of Vinci lay high among the rocks that crowned the steep in hillside. It was a little town, only a few houses crowded together with an old castle in their midst, and it looked from a distance like a swallow's nest clinging to the briar. Steep rocks. Here in the year 1452, Leonardo, sons of Pierre, sorry, a son of Sir Piero da Vinci was born. So he was born in, Da Vinci was born in 1452. You just keep in mind. So as you read, you just make, okay, from each paragraph you make a conclusion so that you can easily understand. So it will be very easy for you. So make that way you understand things. Okay. Leonardo was always a strange child. Even his appearance was not like that of other children. So this, what are the specialty? This second paragraph is just dealing, or it is dealing with the specialities that Leonardo da Vinci was having. So you can just remember about that. He had the most wonderful waving hair. So he was having this speciality that he was most having a most wonderful waving hair, and then falling in ripples like the waters of a fountain. So he was having that, no, the waving hair. See, he had waving hair, and just it was just falling in ripples like the waters of a fountain. So he was having that. Okay, so he was having everything like a fountain. So he had the, okay, you see that he had okay, wonderful waving hair. It was it is the what we can say, so many adjectives are given, so many attributes are given about the hair of Da Vinci. So that is what he had, the most wonderful waving hair, falling in ripples like the waters of a fountain. See, the color of bright gold and soft as spun silk. So he was having, okay, he was having the color of a bright gold and soft as spun silk. Okay, so that is the specialities. So the color of bright gold and soft as spun silk. So he was having. His eyes were blue and clear. His eyes were actually blue and clear with the mysterious light in them. So he had that mysterious, that kind of mysterious light in them, all those things. They were happy eyes too. So those eyes were, eyes was actually very happy eyes. And when he laughed, but underneath they always had a strange cold look. So they were having a very cold look, we can say. And there was a charm about his smile which no one could resist. So there was everywhere, always there was a charm in his smile, so that no one could resist, no one could resist. So, and he was a favorite with all. So he was having a very friendly nature with everyone. So he was very much, attached to everyone. All loved him. So that is what the speciality of Leonardo da Vinci. So you just keep in mind these things. Okay. So his father, Sir Piero, was a lawyer. Piero, so he was a lawyer. So Sir Piero was a lawyer, and he spent the most of his time in Florence. His father, Sir Piero, he spent most of his time in Florence. But when he returned to the old castle of Vinci, he began to give Leonardo lessons and tried to find out what the boy was fit for. So he used to give his father, Sir Piero was a lawyer. You just keep in mind that he was a lawyer, and he spent the most of his time in Florence only with his father. But when he returned to his old castle of Vinci, he began to give Leonardo lessons and tried to find out what the boy was fit for. So he was actually his father, Leonardo da Vinci's father, was just concerned about his son's matter. So he was just thinking what he is actually fit for, at what he will be good. Da Vinci will be good for what. So he was just finding out in what aspect he is good, in which level he likes to have the interest. So he was just finding out the interest of Leonardo da Vinci, who his father. Okay, so though he was very busy, other times whenever he got the, what we can say, he got the free time, he used to visit Leonardo da Vinci, and he just used to find out what is good for actually what is the interest of Leonardo da Vinci, or what he is good. Okay, in what level he is good. So he was just finding out that only. So you can see that his father, Sir Piero, was a lawyer and spent most of his time in Florence. But when he returned to the old castle of Vinci, he began to give Leonardo lessons and tried to find out what the boy was fit for. But Leonardo detested those lessons and refused to learn. So he was not interested in those lessons. And so he was 7 years old and he was sent to school. And actually, he was sent to school. Okay, so when he was 7 years old, he was sent to school, and he despised school too. There also, he just left, despised the school too, for he could not stand the rough play of the boys. So he could not bear those rough play of the boys. He was not interested in that. Okay, when he saw them tear the wings of butterflies or torture any animal that fell into their hands, his face grew white with pain and he would never take part in their games. So his friends actually, friends of Da Vinci, whenever they got some butterflies, they used to tear the wings of the butterflies. And actually, this was not liked by Da Vinci. He was not at all interested in that. So what he did, he was away from those people and never he could enjoy the company of those people. So that was actually the nature of Leonardo da Vinci. He was completely different from the other people. So that is the speciality of Leonardo da Vinci. I think you can understand that. Okay, so he could not enjoy the company of those people, and he never went for the games with these friends. The Latin, the Latin grammar was also a dreadful task. So Latin grammar that time. So even you know that the English words, some of the English words origin is from Latin only. So you can understand. So it was very difficult. In a grammar part of the Latin was very difficult. It was a very dreadful task. No? While the many things he longed to learn, no one taught him. So it happened many a time that instead of going to school, he would slip away and escape into the hills. So he just used to skip the schools, and instead of going to the schools, he used to go to the to the hills as a happy as the little wild god. So you know that. So he was very happy to go to hills. Here was all the sweet fresh air instead of the stuffy classroom. Here were no cruel, clumsy boys, but all the wild creatures that he loved. For hours, he would lie perfectly still as he watched a spider weave its web, enthralled by the how the delicate threads were turned in and out, the colorful butterflies, the buzzing bees, the little sharp tongued green lizards. He loved to watch them all, but most of all, he loved the birds. Oh, if only he too had wings to dart like the swallows, the swoop and sail and dart again. What was the secret power in their wings? So he enjoyed going to the hills, and there he had the wonderful creatures, the animals and birds like that. He enjoyed the company of them. So he was very happy about those animals. He was sure that simply by watching them patiently, he would learn it. It was always the hidden reason behind all things in nature that Leonardo da Vinci wanted to know. Then, when the sun began to sink, he would turn sadly homewards, very hungrily, with the awfully soiled clothes and tired feet, but with a heap of joy in his heart. So, what he did? All things in nature that Leonardo wanted to know. Then, when the sun began to sink, he would turn sadly homewards. He was very hungry with the awfully soiled clothes and tired feet, but with a heap of joy in his soul. Whenever he went back to his house, he was tired, but his mind was filled with a lot of happiness. Because you see that there is a difference we can see from that of the human beings. So animals are not like that, attacking simply. They are very good. So that is a difference he has seen from that of the human being. So that is the main difference. Okay, they were very good people. Actually, when we see the very nature of the animals or the birds or butterflies, he was feeling a kind of comfort in that place. So he was very happy there in that place. Okay, wherever he went, he was very happy in that place. Okay, that is what you can find here. He loved every crawling, creeping, or flying thing, however ugly. He loved every crawling. So he was liking this very crawling and the creeping or flying thing, however ugly. So whenever somebody is seeing this as not good, then also he was finding it everything very interesting. So when others are seeing it as what we can say as ugly, but he was finding it as a very beautiful creatures. Curious beast, which might have frightened another child, were to him charming. So see the curious what we can say beast. Beast stands for others. It is always a threat only. Nobody will be liking this beast stands on. But you see that for Da Vinci, all these things were very friendly and he liked everything. So that is the differentiating factor you can find in the character of Leonardo da Vinci. So whatever others are finding it ugly or harmful creatures, for him they are good. They don't attack anyone. So that kind of understanding was there in the mind of or mind setup of Da Vinci. Okay, that others were not thinking at all. So main difference, one of the main difference you can find here. Okay, he loved every crawling, creeping, and flying or flying thing, however ugly. Curious beasts which might have frightened another child were to him charming and interesting. In the lap of nature, as he listened to the singing of the birds and bent his head to catch the gurgling of the mountain streams. See, in the lap of nature, what was there? The lap of nature, as he listened to the singing of the birds and bent his head. So he just bent his head to catch the gurgling of the mountain streams. So, gargling, no? Gargling. See, the love of music began to grow ever stronger in his heart. So, his love for nature or love for, we can say, mountain streams, that began to increase. Okay, that began to increase. The love of music began to grow ever stronger in his heart. He did not rest then until he managed to get a lute and learned, you see, how to play upon it. So he just got a lute and he just learned how to play upon it. Okay, and when he had mastered the notes and learned the rules of music, he began to play pieces which no one had ever heard before. So when he learned that, he just turned to or mastered the piece of music which no one, the pitch which the pieces which no one had ever heard before. So that kind of attitude. Okay, so let us we can just continue with the same. Okay, the child is bewitched. No, before that he began to play pieces which no one had ever heard before and to sing such sweet songs that the notes flowed out as fresh and clear as the song of a lark in the early morning of spring. You see, he began to play pieces which no one had ever heard before. So that was a very interesting thing that no one heard these things before. So he started to play those notes and so on, which no one heard. So that was one of the interesting thing about Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, and to sing such a sweet songs that the notes flowed out. So he just began to sing the song, sweet songs, that the notes flowed out, just it was flowing as fresh and clear as the song of the lark in the early morning of spring. So it was just like the notes were just flowing out of fresh and clear as the song of a lark in the early morning of spring. So it was just like it was just flowing like anything, as clear as a song of a lark in the early morning of spring. So it was just flowing, we can say. This was actually flowing like anything. Now, the child is bewitched, some sort. So it is having some problem now, just like bewitched, some problem is having. So that was the opinion of some of the people. No, some of the people were telling that the child is bewitched. So the child is having some problem. That was the opinion of some of the people. So they were just commenting about him that he is bewitched. As they saw Leonardo tenderly lift a dead lizard in his hand. So he was just tenderly, just lifting up the dead lizard in his hand. So all started to say that this boy is bewitched. So such kind of thinking was there in the mind of the other people. So so I think you can just go through this. Maybe he said others, but he sure has the voice of an angel. So others said that he is having the voice of an angel. So maybe what you are telling may be correct, but anyway, he is having a voice of an angel. For everyone stopped to listen when the boy's voice was heard singing through the streets of the little town. So all were just listening to him whenever they heard him singing. He was a puzzle to everyone. Little did they know then that this strange child was destined to be one of the greatest painter, sculptor, architect. So nobody thought that he will be become. So others thought that he will be becoming something, some musician or somebody. So but you see that what he became greatest painter, sculptor, architect, musician, scientist, mathematician, engineer, inventor, okay, anatomist, geologist, cartographer, botanist, and writer the world has ever known. Okay, so this is actually an extract. So you can just go through this, answer the following question, you will be doing it, and the other things, underline the main verb in each of the sentences below and identify the subject. So those answers I will be giving to you. Don't worry. Do you do one thing? You just should go through this all the exercises because it is an exercise for you. It is given as an exercise, no? So please do it.